Thanks everyone for joining. So today we're going to take a high-level overview of GA4. And just to give you a quick rundown of what's happened, basically Google Analytics has migrated to the new version as of March 1st and automatically transitioned all the old accounts over. And basically by mid this year, it will basically stop collecting data for the old universal analytics accounts, which means that everyone will be kind of forced into using the new one. However, it's a completely new user interface. There's lots of new features, new things to do, and it might be confusing for basically a lot of users to understand how to use it. So that's why I put together this webinar and show everyone high level how to use it. And at the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers. So we can go through that. And if you have any specific questions, we can go through that. Cool. So the first thing is the user interface. So I'm using a demo account, the Google demo account. It's basically from Google Merchandise Store. So you'll see real-time actual data flowing through. So it'd be useful actually to see what's going on here, and we can go through that. So first things first, what's new? So let's introduce you to a bit of the left-hand side menu here. And firstly, you'll have the home, which is the dashboard right here. You'll have the report section, and this is where all the reporting bits are. We'll go through this most in detail in this session. There's an explore area, and this is basically where you can create your own custom reports and visualizations. So this is more for advanced users, but it can also be for something if you have a specific report in mind, but you're not sure how to actually go about, doing it. You can basically just play around with it and see how it works. And there's different templates actually that you can go through. So we'll explore that as well. And the advertising, we won't really touch upon that in this session because this is mostly about SEO. But there is an advertising session for Google Ads. So let's go to the home and we'll go to the reports section in a moment. The first thing that is really a game changer in Google Analytics 4 is the use of AI and giving insights according to what is going on your website, where before you had to kind of dig around a lot and find these insights yourself, whereas now you can use this search bar, and Google has really made it focused around the search bar because they are a search company, but also because from a user experience point of view, it's really easy to find what you need. So you can find recent searches, you can explore different reports, you can find quick answers. And so this is Ask Analytics Intelligence. So this is one of the new kind of things that's powering Google Analytics 4. So you can ask them, and you can ask Google Analytics 4 questions about your specific analytics, and it will give you an instant answer. So we'll explore how to use that as well. And there's also suggestions. So let's go to the report section, because this is where we'll really learn a lot about how the interface works. So first things first, the top right-hand corner, you'll see a few icons. You won't see the edit icon here because this is a demo account, but you will see an edit icon here, which when you click on, you can edit the layout and customize the dashboard. And this is applicable throughout most of these areas. So you can basically edit how that looks like, what kind of data comes through. Next is the edit comparisons. So we'll talk about comparisons in a moment. Sharing the report. If you have someone else that wants to see it, you can share that via link. And then insights is a quick link to seeing quick data. And then up here, obviously, you have the standard date window where you can change, how the kind of window where you want to see the data, and also compare it to previous periods as well. So you have quite a few options there. So that's the interface. Now here in the widgets, you'll see that some have actual options to see more information. And when you click on these, they'll go to the relevant areas of the reporting sections. So let's say if it's about real time, it will go to the real time section right here, or acquisition, or any of these. So let me close these. So the first section we'll talk about is the real time. So basically what's been happening on your website in the last 30 minutes. Basically by user source, by audience, by page, and events as well. One of the main things in Google Analytics 4 is that there's no specific event types as in Universal Analytics. Now they're just all events. There might be, page views or scrolls or whatnot, but they're all classed as events. They're not separate classes anymore. So that kind of simplifies things as well. And then there's conversions and all of this. So this gives you a high-level view of what's happening right now on your site. Now, what I find actually useful is the life cycle. So this basically breaks down the reporting according to the whole life cycle of your customer, everywhere from acquisition, so them first discovering your website, all the way to engaging with your content and then converting into a sale or a client, and then obviously keeping them in retention. So those are basically the different stages, and each one has their own reports. So let's explore the first one. So under acquisition, you'll see it has an overview page, and this is like a more focused dashboard like you saw earlier in the report snapshot above. But this basically gives you specifics about the acquisition, whether it's existing new users or new users. So you can kind of see everything here. And again, you can customize that. This is a good chance for us to explore what comparisons are. So the first thing is under comparisons, you can compare this data, so all users in this case, with another dimension. So you can do this at the top here too. You can either do it via right here, or you can add a comparison at the top. So if I click this, it'll ask me what dimension I want to compare all users to. And let's say we want to compare this to, I don't know, let's scroll down. Let's do country. So let's say we want to compare this to traffic in the United States. So we do that, and then it will basically include that as well. So we'll build a comparison. And okay, one second. Let me just do this. And country, United States. Okay. Okay. So I was saying on the overview page, so basically there's dimensions, so you can compare the data on that reporting page. So the next thing is user acquisition. And this down here is basically showing where the new users are coming from. And it's a little breakdown window. It shows the graph, it shows the bars, what channel they're coming from, and also all the different metrics for each of these dimensions. So that gives you a really great breakdown. And then the difference between user acquisition and traffic acquisition is that user acquisition is that it's for brand new users, so the first time they visit your website, versus traffic acquisition is where they come from basically per session, or the last time they came from. So here it just shows total users, the sessions, the number of engaged sessions, all of this. So that's the difference between those two. It might be a bit confusing at first, but that basically, this is like the most recent users on your website, and this is the users that first came on your site. So that's acquisition. The next is engagement. So obviously, once they're on your site, what do they do on your site? How long are they on there? How many views? And what pages do they view? And all of these interesting insights that you can get. So you can view that here. Then you can go down and drill down into specific events. So you can see, for example, on the Google Merchandise Store, you see they have viewing a promotion, view an item list, a page view, user engagement, a scroll, session starts, view item. There's a bunch of different ones here. And it breaks down into number of events, total users, number of events, and also has a revenue column. So you can basically add also specific dimensions in here as well. So this can be customized too. Up here, you'll see a little filter icon, and this basically allows you to filter this report by another dimension. So if you just want to drill down a bit more, you can do that. So next is conversion. So obviously, once you have users on your site, you want to make sure that they convert into customer. So again, it tells you conversions based on the event type, and again, you can change this to different dimension as well. So then you have pages and screens. So you want to see, where do users actually interact on your site? What pages are the most popular? And almost see like if there's any pages that you might need to flag up to see if we can improve the engagement rate. So average engagement time, views per users, all of this, we can get some great insights here. And then landing pages. So these are pages that they land on first in a specific session. So we can see where they come from. So that's engagement. Next is monetization. And basically this is if you have an e-commerce store, or if you have a store of any kind where people can purchase on there. You can see total revenue and number of e-commerce purchases right here. We'll skip the in-app. That's for more in-app users, and publishers ads. Those are kind of irrelevant for us because most of us have just websites. So basically that's that. And then retention is, how long do we keep users? How many actually return after visiting your site for the first time? And we can also see how like quickly they drop off after a certain number of days. So that's that. Now I want to show you the insight engine, which is really the funnest part of this. So let's say we want to type like how many new users, and it already comes up with suggestions. So how many users this year, new users this year, and it tells you right here the exact number, and you can copy that. If you have like a spreadsheet or something like that, you can use that. You can also look at other suggestions. So these are help articles right here that pop up. You can have reports, report snapshots that come up right here. So basically this is how this works. And let's say you want to have more details. So what countries do most users come from? Top countries by users. And then for more detailed breakdowns, a little bar at the right-hand side will come over, and you'll see the breakdown of the countries and how many are coming. So basically that way, it's really easy. And what's useful also, if you don't know what to search for, is there's suggested questions right here based on basic performance. So how many users did I have last week? What are my top events by user? All of these. So you can click on that and it will show you right away. Or by demographics. So what languages do people use the most? What top cities? What countries? So we just did that. User acquisition. How many users from organic search in the last 30 days? Or compare revenue and users from organic search versus paid search. So you can also do comparisons, which is great. Traffic analysis. So the trend of monthly users last year. Let's do that. So trend of monthly users last year. Monthly trend of users. So we can see, actually, we can see the little graph here, which is really great. Easy to look at. So great insights here. And then we have technology. So let's say we want to optimize our site for specific devices or screen sizes. We can see what devices are used the most, what browsers are used the most, app versions, all of these are accessible. And then finally, e-commerce. So a few suggestions here about, let's say, best-selling products, top products by revenue, etc. So by no means are these all of them that you can ask, but these are examples. So if you run out of ideas, you can just go in here and get some ideas here and click them. So that's a really high level overview of how this works and basically how it's laid out. And let me show you the Explore. This is a bit more advanced. We're not going to go too into depth, but there's a few different formats. So you can go to template gallery and explore by technique. So if it's a free form, a funnel exploration, path exploration, different types of graphs and visualizations. You can also find templates by use case. So if it's acquisition, conversion, user behavior style, or industries as well. So once you select one, let's say we want to do funnel exploration, it'll ask you all of these basically different segments and dimensions. And this is where you would customize it. So again, this is quite advanced, but I want to show you that this is available for you to use. But for most beginners, the report section will be more than sufficient, and then using this search bar at the top. So that's it from my side. I want to basically open it up to everyone to ask any questions at this point.
Thanks. I'm gonna jump in and take the first question, Gabriel.
Okay, perfect.
So for people here, most of us are like really used to GA3. What would you say is the one thing that would trip people up the most now going into GA4, coming from GA3? What's the one thing that they'll be like, oh, they'll get that you think people might get stuck on, because it differs so much to GA3? What did you learn that was so different?
Yeah, I would say from my experience switching over, it was the user interface. It was just how it was structured, and finding the data that you want. It just is a different way to do it. Remember in Universal Analytics, you had to really drill down and click a lot around and basically choose the dimensions, the metrics to get exactly what you want. Whereas in this one, there is like a structure here, but if you want quick data, you really use the search. So it's just about using this new type of interface here, the search bar up here, and the way it's laid out. So yeah, I would say it's the user interface. Anyone else?
Great. Thanks, Gabriel.
No problem.
We have a look on the chat. So some of the questions. Okay, so from Bernie, what's the biggest flaw in, say it's GA4? So what's the thing you least like? You found this isn't the greatest thing.
Yeah, great question. So basically, I would say there's some levels of customization that one cannot do that easily. So what I didn't like is, let's say over here, you can customize it to a certain extent. Let's say I want to change the user source or something. Great. But what about, so as you can see, it's the first 10 results. What about more? I can't really scroll down. There's no multiple pages unless you go to the next page here. It's just different in that sense. And the way it's laid out is kind of fixed unless you customize it. I would say it's just a lot more geared toward using the search here and quick answers. So yeah, I think it to each their own, in terms of like what's frustrating or what's not using, because what I found in Universal Analytics is that everyone I talked to who was using it had a slightly different way of using it. And that the same goes with the new interface. Someone will eventually, for example, like the search bar much better than going to the pre-made reports, or someone might want to always customize it or whatnot. So again, it really depends on who's using it and what they're used to using before switching over.
Cool. Okay. So some of the other questions. So Ed Ferrigan, he's interested in the funnel tracking, the funnel exploration. I don't know if that's something that you've explored yet, Gabriel.
I haven't gone that deep into it, but basically you can do it right here. Like I said, it's a funnel exploration. And basically this has to do with like when they first like start a session or they first join your, like land on your site, the first page they land on, for example, then you want to know from that page, where do they go to next and next? And then finally, does it result in a purchase or a lead or whatnot? So you can use this for that kind of analysis. You can see first open visit, a session start, a screen page view, and then purchases. So this allows you to really customize that. It can be quite advanced. So I haven't explored it to the extent where I can show you like in depth how to create one. It can take some time, but I would definitely recommend going into the funnel exploration and doing that for conversion focused insights.
Cool. Thanks. Michelle's asked, is there a way to exclude users? So, you know, on the old GA3, you could exclude IP address. Can we still do that in GA4?
I haven't tried that yet, to be honest. But what we can do, yeah.
Let me just the admin settings, didn't it?
Let me try this. So, users, last week, excluding users in, let's say, United States. Yeah, I think the instant ones might have difficulty. Well, try different examples, but I'll have to get back to you on that one for sure.
Yeah, it used to be in the settings, Michelle, where you could exclude certain IP addresses. So what you need to find out is the IP address of your office. So the easiest way to do that is when you're in your office, go to Google, search what's my IP address. It will give you like a 10-digit number, something like that. And then there'll be a setting in here in the admin section somewhere where you can then enter that IP address, and then it'll exclude all traffic that comes to the website from that IP address, which means you're not skewing your stats just from your own visits from people in your office.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to show you is if you want more deep insights into your user, there's a demographics and tech section. So these basically allow you to drill down on specific demographics and also tech details as well. So if you're interested in, let's say, browser, OS version, app version, screen resolution, all of these, you can go into there, or demographics. You can look at region, town, city, language, age. Some of these may or may not be available in your country. So, for example, gender or age may not. Same with interests, but this allows you to really go into that as well. Any other questions?
Yeah, sure. So Wayne's asked a question. He said, after he's migrated to GA4, they don't have demographics. Is this something that needs to be turned on? Because I know you used to have to turn it on in GA3. I'm guessing with this demo account, it was probably already switched on for you, Gabriel. But
yeah, so it's not showing at all, is it?
Yeah,
because you'd have to check the settings, to be honest. If it's it could be, and I've heard this happen, especially now that Google is switching automatically, is that not all settings and configurations may be transferred over. So you might have to go into the new GA4 settings, and you can go to the admin right here, or the settings. Yeah, basically settings are in the admin there, and basically go through and make sure that there's any settings for demographics. But if it's not showing up by default, then that's why you just need to enable it.
Yeah, I just found a help center article on Google. I've just linked it in the chat there. So yeah,
Thanks.
if you have a look through that, that should help. Adam Burridge has asked, no worries. I've noticed not set, as in the result not set for a keyword or for Adam, was this for a dimension or a traffic? Where have you seen not set
It,
appear more often?
I saw it primarily just on like landing pages and stuff like that. Like it was coming up quite a bit when I've been digging around. So like in various places, you can see it here for like not set on the location, but on other pages like landing page and other things, it kept flashing up. So I didn't know if it was because it was the tracking code was being blocked or something like that.
Yeah, so this could be due to privacy settings. So for example, if someone lands on and they just don't want certain details or it's blocking certain things, then that's why this not set it actually shows up. So not all the data is actually collected. So that's why a number of users actually may have not set because they just don't want to be tracked in that way.
Cool. I've just done a little Google search, and Google say, if you see not set as a value for landing page, this is genuinely due to a session with no page or screen view level hits included. It's possible to have a session that doesn't include a page or a screen view, but it does include another type of interaction hit, e.g. an event or e-commerce hit type. I don't really understand that one, but I will put the link in the chat for you, Adam, to investigate further.
Brilliant.
Hopefully that will help. Great. Okay. Let's see. We are getting pretty good far down. Kaylin's asked, how detailed can you get in the search bar? Could you ask something as specific as how many new users in February 2022?
How many new users in February 2022?
Ah,
there
pretty
we go.
good.
Yeah, so you can get really specific with that, which is great. Or how many new users on February 21st, for example. There we go. So
nice.
you can go down to the grain with this.
Yeah.
Really useful.
Great. So final question. This is a nice one to finish on, actually. Bernie's asked, has GA4 allowed Hike to improve any of its SEO tools? Thanks for the next comment, Bernie. So at the moment, it's the report builder really, and the reporting features where we bring through GA data, and it doesn't really feed into. I don't think we have anything that feeds into any of the other tools like the actions or anything. It's mainly in the report builder. And I guess it's probably good to give you guys an update in terms of our GA4 integration in the report builder. So at the moment, I think about 90% of our customers that connect Google Analytics are still connecting GA3. So by the end of July or 1st of July, that's going to have to switch to 100% moving to GA4. So the demand's still there from a reporting point of view for us is still for GA3. But what we've been doing recently is improving the GA4 widgets and the GA4 data you can pull through. So there was I think if you have a look at last month's update, which there'll be a blog about, or you'd receive an email or YouTube video, we increased the number of metrics and dimensions that you could pull through for GA4 widgets. So you could pull through conversions, for example, because that wasn't possible before. What we're going to do, because with the 1st of July, GA3 is switching off completely, and our report builder will have to be completely GA4. We're going to have to rebuild it. So we have to rebuild it to remove all the GA3 widgets and data and just have it as a pure GA4 product in terms of like the analytics you connect. So we're rebuilding everything. And that's actually a project that Gabriel's been helping with, going through everything that can be grabbed from GA4 from the API and trying to discern, okay, what are the best widgets? What's the information that you guys need in terms of making sure that the report builder, when you use it in Hike, you can create as detailed or as simple or as in-depth reports as possible. So that will be a project that we're doing in the first half of this year because it all has to roll out in advance of the 1st of July. So yeah, Gabriel, that one's on you.
Yeah, no, perfect. I've been already working on that. So there's quite a few things that I've been putting together, but one of the things I also want to touch upon, and this is a confusion for many who maybe aren't used to the terminology, but when you're searching, there's different terms being used. So users, sessions, events, page views, all of these. And it may be confusing for some people to understand what the difference is, but basically user is like a single person, a single unique entity landing on the site, whereas a session is basically a time, a point when a user lands on the site for the first or multiple times, and then uses the site for a bit and then leaves. And so that's one session. And within a session, they might have multiple events happening. So they might have page views, they might have scrolls, they might look at certain things. So those are events. And then page views are a type of event. So basically, that's the difference between them in case you're wondering what that means. So when you are doing like analysis and searching, you want to be very specific when you're searching. So if I just do user, like how many users, that's all users, including new ones. How many new users, that's brand new users. How many sessions, so let's do sessions. So that's basically a different number altogether. Or how many views, there we go, views or events. Count event type, okay, so it breaks it down. So you need to be specific in the event, how many scrolls. Okay, some of these might actually go that granular, but definitely views, sessions, users, new users, or engaged sessions. So this is where it had multiple views. So just be specific when you are searching what metric you actually want to see here. Just want to add that.
Brilliant. Cool. Right. I think that's every. Oh, sorry, there is one final question. Katrina, any guidelines on how to switch to GA4? So Gabriel,
Yeah.
I know there's a bit of auto switch, but if you want to run through quick answers to that, and then we'll finish off after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So check in your account because it should have auto migrated to a new one. So meaning you'll have two separate properties, one with your GA3 account and one with your GA4 account. But just check if it's been migrated. If you, by chance, need to delete the new GA4 because you want to configure it custom, there is a migration. And I can't walk through it here because this is a demo account. But basically, in your GA3 settings, there's a migration assistant. And basically, follow the steps through that. I do have a video on YouTube, actually. So check the Hike channel. It's about GA3 to GA4 migration. It's a little presentation. It walks you through basically the steps how to do that. So more specific than I can do on here live. So definitely watch that and it'll help you configure everything.
Great. I think that's a wrap.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. And I will upload this recording in the next day or so, and you can rewatch it from there. And if you have any questions at all, though, do let us know, and we can answer them separately. Perfect.
Great. Thanks, Gabriel. Thanks,
all right,
everyone.
thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, bye.